All right, hey South Texas, I hope your evening is going well. I decided to hop on here just to give an update to what's going on with the strong storms that are possible overnight tonight. Now, the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm watch for some areas just on off to our north. You'll notice where there's some storms already starting to pop up. We still have the possibility for some strong storms ourselves, still expected to be in the morning hours. So nothing's really changed too much on that. Wednesday morning is our time frame, so right now things still quiet out there. You want to make sure you have a way to receive weather alerts throughout the night, though. Don't forget that you can download the KENS 5 app, if you're not watching us on the app already, that is, to get updates throughout the night. The KENS 5 app will have updates coming out throughout the evening in case there's a severe weather alert in your area. Some of y'all are watching on the KENS 5 app right now. That's one of those places you can actually watch these updates is on our app. It's a great tool to be able to get updates throughout the night. Now, I have Facebook up here to be able to answer some of y'all's questions if any do come in. So feel free to ask any, and I'd be happy to update them. So when will the hill country see the storms in the comfort area? Well, that's going to be closer on towards, I would say, about 3 to 4 a.m. We're going to go through the timing here in just a moment. We're going to talk all about when certain spots could see those storms, the whole rundown of that. But right now, notice the storms up towards San Angelo. Those are going to stay to the north. Now, that same boundary those storms are forming along, that's where we may have more thunderstorm activity form, causing some strong storms for us. Now, remember, we're on the southern edge of this slight risk. So, this is that kind of the edge. We're on the edge of where they could have some stronger to severe storms, but more up to the heart of this is where they're going to have that better chance of really seeing some of those more widespread or even just scattered thunderstorms. Stretching into San Angelo, all the way up to Dallas, Killeen, Temple, stretching down towards even Austin. You notice up towards the Red River, they're included in this as well, stretching even all the way over towards Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi. This is a big area. This is going to be going on throughout tonight and into tomorrow as well. Notice up towards the panhandle of Texas too and into Oklahoma. That's where we have the enhanced risk for severe weather, a little bit higher. What does an enhanced risk even mean? Well, that's where numerous severe storms are possible, more persistent or widespread, and a few could be intense. Scattered severe storms for a slight risk, well, that means that you don't have as many of the severe storms, and maybe they're not as long-lived thunderstorms. So that's another thing, not as long tracking and as intense. That's what you would get with slight risk, but you still could have some intense storms. And a marginal risk, isolated severe storms possible. Maybe you get 1 or 2 here and there. That lets you know. Remember, we're at the 1 and 2 there, marginal and slight risk. So our threat's not as high as what they're having up into the Panhandle and Oklahoma, where they actually do have numerous severe thunderstorms right now. So the Storm Prediction Center that puts out those alerts, they pretty much hit the nail on the head there with those storms. JJ is asking, are tornadoes a possibility? And JJ, the answer is, I think they have a better chance for some tornadoes further on off to the north. That's where we have a little bit more, it's called helicity in the atmosphere. There's a little bit more spin as you go up higher. Whenever you have that, you have a better chance to see tornadoes. And again, that's not so much for our area. Not saying that it's completely out of the question. I mean, it's still possible, but it's not as high of a risk for us. So, I would say not really, but it's good to go ahead and just stay alert just in case that does happen. Just because when you have a severe thunderstorm, it means that you could end up with a tornado too. So it will be possible, but not as high of a threat. It's something that we're going to have a better chance of seeing if we do see some of these stronger storms. Because remember, it's a possibility. That's going to be large hail and damaging wind. And when I say large hail, I'm not talking about the softball size hail. There's not enough energy and power in the atmosphere right now to get anything like that. We're talking about quarter to golf ball size, still stuff that you don't want hitting your car. But that's kind of what we're talking about whenever we're talking more about the hail threat. Damaging wind could end up with 75 mile per hour winds possible in some of these stronger storms. They're actually saying that you could have up to 70 mile per hour winds in some of those storms that are occurring up towards San Angelo right now. So that's pretty strong. that's going to be the possibility for us as we head throughout tonight. So without further ado, let's get through the timeline. I see a lot of people asking about their area, when the storms could arrive. So let's get through that. Rock Springs, by the time we get towards 2:30 a.m., it looks like we could have a little bit of thunderstorm activity starting to approach. Things get a little bit more energy, a little bit more power with them as these storms get closer on towards Riel County. This is 4 a.m. Kerrville, I saw some questions about Comfort and Kerrville area. 4 a.m., that's when it starts to arrive to your region. I think that damaging winds, mainly with these storms, it looks like some of the stronger storms may be just off to our north at this time. I want to bring it all the way up. This is going to be up towards Waco and into Bell County, right along the I-35 corridor. If you're traveling north on I-35 early tomorrow morning, that's going to be where I think some of the even stronger storms could be. But again, this storm moving through Comfort, we could have some strong winds with it. Notice the spots that are in yellow and orange. I'm talking about Blanco County. I'm talking about Gillespie County, stretching into Llano County. That's where we could have some of those stronger winds, possibly some hail, and maybe even there in northern Medina County. And again, I see a lot of questions about hail. I know a lot of people worry about the hail around here just because we have had such large hail events in the past. Should I move my car? Should I move it to a different place? You may want to put it somewhere safe as we head throughout tonight. You may be able to just move it if you get it, if you have a way to get alerts on your phone, you'll wake up and say, oh, maybe I should move the car. But honestly, guys, it's going to be isolated events, I'm willing to bet, for our region, where it's like, well, we had a lot of hail over here, but a majority of us made it through the night. And guys, this is honestly how it's going to be. A majority of us are going to make it through tonight with just a little bit of rainfall, and some of us are going to make it through tonight without even any rainfall at all, some of us here in South Texas. But where that slight risk was, mainly into the hill country again, that's going to be where we have a storm or two that's going to have the possibility of having some quarter to golf ball size hail, which golf ball size hail doesn't always do damage to your car, but maybe it can do a little bit of dents. Maybe it could crack your windshield, especially if it's wind driven. If the wind's blowing really hard too and it's hitting your car windshield, you could easily end up with cracks. You could easily end up with dents in your car. Not as big as what you would get with baseball or softball, but definitely something you don't want happen. So again, I'm not expecting huge hail if we do get any from these storms, but still could be a little bit of an issue. Moving through the timeline, by 6 a.m., it's even made its way through the I-35 corridor. So we went through 4, 5, 5:30. Notice Bernie. That's when you're going to get some of these storms. And I want you to notice something too. As these storms move through San Antonio, they're weakening. By the time they end up on our doorstep, these storms have weakened a lot. Now, we're still going to get some rumbles of thunder, I'm willing to bet. And we're still going to get some gusty winds. But for San Antonio, I think the storms are really going to have weakened a lot. They will continue to move through, collapsing. You notice the yellows, the oranges really start to fade away, and then we're left with a lot of green. That lets us know that it's not as high a reflectivity on the radar possible. When I say reflectivity, I mean the amount of stuff in the atmosphere, I guess you could say. So maybe not as much in the way of heavy rain, maybe not in the much way of hail possibilities, but still likely some gusty winds. As these storms are falling apart, we're going to end up with some stronger winds moving through. So that's something we're going to be looking out for. Now, these storms are going to continue to move through all the way through 6, and then you see getting east of San Antonio, moving into Wilson County, moving into Pleasanton. I saw questions about Pleasanton earlier at 6:30 a.m. So if you're in Pleasanton, you could go to bed and wake up tomorrow morning, and now the storms are arriving where you are. Same thing with Floresville, Seguin. That's when the storms are arriving for you. They continue their way off to the east through Gonzales. By the time we get to 7:30, they made their way to Karnes City by the time we get to 7:30 as well. Hallettsville by 8 a.m. And you notice they get a little bit more energy with them when they get closer onto the coast, a little bit more moisture down there, not necessarily meaning a better chance for hail for them, probably just a lot of heavy rain for areas closer to the coast, like Port Lavaca, Victoria. I think that's what the future clouds and radar is really picking up on there, just more in the way of really heavy rainfall. And notice for San Antonio by 9:30 a.m., it's clear. We're going to have a ton of sunshine. It's going to be beautiful out there. Temperatures are going to be in the 50s and 60s. Strong wind, though. Temperatures rise into the 80s tomorrow afternoon. And there's something that I want to talk about with that strong wind too. We also have a red flag warning in place for tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's going to be because we are going to have gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Winds out of the northwest at 15 to 25. Low humidity, warm conditions. A red flag warning is put into place because we have strong winds that could cause for a higher fire danger. That goes along with the low humidity and the warm conditions too. So don't burn tomorrow. That's my best advice. Red flag warnings are pretty serious. That means that if you end up with a small fire, strong gust of wind comes through, you could end up with a huge field on fire with acres burning, real quick. That's how you get your really fast spreading wildfires, like what they have out west in California and even up into Colorado. Whenever they have those big, strong winds move through, the Santa Ana winds, that's when you have the really big wildfires, and they have red flag warnings in place typically whenever that's occurring. So, not a lot of rain from this system. We need a lot of rain. We're way behind on rainfall. And you see here, looks like less than 1/4 of an inch pretty much for everybody over the next 7 days. There's your 7-day forecast. Again, we'll have the chance for rain. And it looks like my graphic just updated. It must be midnight now. It sure is. It's 12:01. I just turned 31, by the way, guys. It's my birthday today. So the graphic already updated. Of course, tomorrow's the 18th is not St. Patrick's Day. I will have to update this graphic now. We actually update these graphics ourselves. We have a chance for morning showers tomorrow, but that's not for the 18th. All these texts that you see across the 7-day, that was actually for yesterday. So we update all this stuff ourselves. It's not just some random computer updating it. And now that we've gone on to the next day, all of the text is 1 day off. So don't pay attention to the text. Look at the numbers, though. That's accurate. You see 75 for the high on Thursday. I can tell you that for the morning tomorrow, it's going to be 60s. We're going to rise into the 80s for the afternoon. Not too bad by any means. Should be pretty nice. I see a lot of people saying happy birthday. Thank you so much. It's going to be a nice day. I intend to do a little bit of sleeping after I leave here. But of course, guys, I'm staying here until meteorologist Paul Morales gets here. He should be here around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Of course, we want to make sure that everyone stays updated and safe throughout tonight and through the morning hours. He's going to be taking the baton from me and covering the morning show. So we're going to have updates throughout the morning on KENS 5 from 4:30 all the way through the 7 o'clock hour. And then, throughout all of our updates throughout the morning, he's going to be keeping everyone updated. But by 7 o'clock, these storms are well to our east. I mean, they're really moving out of here. Shouldn't be much of an issue anymore right there. I see a lot of people saying happy birthday, and my buddy Danny Richardson wishing a happy birthday. He's one of our coworkers here. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. So let's go ahead and look at those storms off to our northwest. If you got any friends and family in San Angelo, they may be up already. But you may want to call them and say, hey, you got a pretty strong storm headed your way. Guys, they're going to end up severe warning this storm pretty soon. It's got a lot of energy with it. You can tell. You see the pink starting to pop up there. They've already mentioned the National Weather Service in San Angelo. They've already talked about how it had 70-mile-per-hour winds possible with it. And then those pinks showing up lets us know that that's a little bit higher reflectivity. Could end up with a little bit of hail. May want to give a phone call to your friends in San Angelo and say, hey, you may want to bring your car inside. Looks like a little bit of hail heading your way. And also may end up with some really strong winds. So something that people in San Angelo need to look out for really over the next about 15 minutes. So again, this storm not hitting us. It's staying to our north, not going to impact us here in South Texas. We are going to have the possibility for a few storms ourselves. Let's see a few people joining in. Bianca saying, Bianca saying, what are we expecting? I missed it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to run through it again, no problem. Guys, I'm hanging out here all night. One of the things that we say in the meteorology community is, sometimes you got to stay late, and we call it babysitting the radar. We're waiting to see if whenever the storms start popping up, before something starts happening, then you're really having to focus on things. But we like to call it babysitting the radar whenever nothing's happening just yet, and we're just kind of keeping an eye on things until something does happen. So that's what we're working on right now. Nothing happening in South Texas. We're just keeping an eye on things, and once things start happening, we'll start stepping in and giving a little bit even more in the way of updates with that. So again, I got nothing else to do right now but give you all updates on what these storms are doing. So slight risk for severe weather for tonight. Valverde County, Edwards County, Real, northern parts of Uvalde, northern parts of Medina, even parts of Bexar County. Now, once these storms get closer to that I-35 corridor, they're going to start really weakening. So mainly up towards Kerr County, Kendall County, Gillespie County, Bandera County, even Real County. I think that's going to be our better chance for some strong storms. And let's look at the timeline again. First of all, scattered severe storms possible. That's what a level 2 means. That's slight risk. Not talking about a ton of strong storms. You know, we have the enhanced risk that's off to our north. I mentioned this. Let me go ahead and run this back real quick. There's that enhanced risk off to our north. This is on par with why they had the enhanced risk. Let me zoom out. Look at all the severe thunderstorm warnings up there and the numerous widespread severe storms. That's what an enhanced risk means. So when you have a slight risk, it's typically not as many severe thunderstorm warnings or not as much intensity. So there's your enhanced risk, numerous severe storms possible. Whenever you have a slight risk, it's just scattered. I mean, that's a great way to just kind of show the difference on radar of what an enhanced risk would show and what a slight risk would show. So after that little lesson there, let's go ahead and look at the timeline. As we head into 2:30 a.m., we're going to start to see these storms try to pick up a little bit. Now, Future Clouds and Radar has backed off on the intensity of these storms a lot. So they may not be as strong when they head through Rock Springs. But as they move through Real, Bandera, Kerr, Gillespie County, look at the yellow starting to pop up. That's when we could get a little bit more in the way of strong winds with some of these storms. And I'll run this back real quick. I want to make sure I point out the time on each of these. I know that's the big question. A lot of people want to know, well, what time is it going to hit my area? By 4 a.m., that's Kerrville, that's Comfort, that's Real County, that's Bandera County. Not in Bandera itself, but Bandera County, the very northwest corner. And it's Fredericksburg. Moving through the timeline, by 5 a.m., these storms have made their way through majority of Kendall County, arriving on the doorstep of Bernie, arriving on the doorstep of Hondo. And you see that the bulk of the severe weather, this isn't necessarily going to be severe, but the possibility of severe storms is going to miss out on Uvalde. It's going to stay north of it. So good news for our friends in Uvalde, but I know that they need the rain too. Hopefully you can get some rain from this without anything in the way of strong storms. The yellows and the oranges, that's going to be where we can end up with the better possibility for a little bit of hail. Again, I don't expect it to be huge hail, but quarter size to golf ball size at most. I would not expect anything really big out of these storms. I just don't think there's enough energy in the atmosphere in our part of this system. This is a huge system that's making its way up towards northern New Mexico. The oranges up there in Blanco County. That's where we could have the larger hail possible, some stronger winds as it moves into northern parts of Hays County and then into parts of Travis County there near Austin. By the time we get to 6 a.m., these storms, look at how much they've weakened. The yellows really fade away. These storms are going to be weakening again as they approach the I-35 corridor. And they'll weaken as they move through San Antonio. We'll continue to watch those storms kind of collapse as they pass through the region. And then you see there as they continue to move southeast, still weakening. By 7:30 a.m., the rain is out of here. We end up with a lot drier conditions in San Antonio by 7:30, and we are dry for the rest of the day on Wednesday. It's going to be beautiful weather for St. Patrick's Day. Get out and enjoy it. Temperature is going to be rising all the way up towards the 80s for the afternoon. Nice and dry. We stay dry through Saturday, and then rain chances return as we head into the end of the weekend or early next week. I see Donna saying, what's up? We need rain, please. Donna, I know. I totally agree. We are way behind on rainfall, and I'll actually go ahead and bring that up. Give me 1 second. Here's our monthly average for rainfall by month. January was behind. Remember, we finished 2019 and 2020, both years, more than 10 inches behind average. We're not on a good track right now for the year 2021 or the month of March. January was behind, February is behind, March is well behind, and There's some hope for the end of March, but I don't know if we're going to catch up all the way to that 2.31 inches. Obviously, we're behind on the year. From day 8 through day 14, beyond the 7-day forecast, this is that hope I was talking about. The latter part of March, looks like we're going to be having above average chances for rain from day 8 through day 14. It's good to see those higher chances for rain possible. We need the rain. Again, really dry conditions. Donna nailed it. We're so far behind on rainfall. We really need it. It also looks like we're going to be cooler than average from day 8 through day 14. So not expecting a freeze. I want to make sure I let y'all know that. I know we're all sick of the cold weather after what happened in mid-February. It looks like we're going to be having temperatures just a little bit below average, maybe 60s for highs, 40s for lows. Not too bad there. So nothing too awful, just a little bit below average. So guys, I'm going to, I think I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. Keep an eye on things behind the scenes. I want to run this up. Well, looks like, hold up one second. I may stay on here for just a second longer. So look at how storms are starting to form a little bit further south, getting closer towards Val Verde County. So this is kind of what we expected. We were expecting more storms to form along this boundary right here. Let's see if this will draw a line for me. There we go. There's a little boundary right here. And we were expecting storms to form along it. And it looks like we've had more storms form a little bit further south. Let me run this back. You see the storms formed up towards Big Lake first, headed towards San Angelo. Now, those are the really strong storms. I don't think this storm that's further south is going to get as intense as that storm near San Angelo. That storm near San Angelo is really intense. That one, excuse me, further south, I think it's going to, try to flex its muscles a little bit, but definitely not be on the level of the one closer to San Angelo, which I'm willing to bet they're going to probably severe warn that storm here pretty soon. I would not be surprised. Again, that storm not going to impact anybody here in South Texas. Just something we're watching for. A lot of people saying happy birthday. Thank you so much. Guys, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here for now. Don't forget to download the KENS 5 app. It can keep you updated throughout tonight. I'm going to be here updating it and keeping everybody updated throughout tonight myself until meteorologist Paul Morales comes in at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're going to pass off the baton to him, let him handle everything for the rest of the morning, and we'll keep you updated on everything here throughout the night. The KENS 5 app, though, great way to get information. You can get alerts throughout the night on it, keep you updated. Don't forget to also like us on Facebook and follow us on Facebook so you can continue to get updates. And then follow us on Twitter. We'll have updates there. And on YouTube. We're live on YouTube as well. So updates from all of those locations. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. We're going to keep you updated here. And I'll be also posting stuff to my Facebook page here and there as more storms move through. By the way, this severe thunderstorm watch, I don't even know if I mentioned this earlier. It's just off to our north. I did mention that it existed, but I didn't mention when it was going to end. The severe thunderstorm watch that's located just off to our north is set to end at about 5 a.m. So that lets you know how long they may be dealing with severe thunderstorm activity, maybe up towards the Waco area. So because it does, again, include areas all the way over to Waco. They're not going to be dealing with severe weather all the way to 5 a.m. at San Angelo, but something they're going to be keeping a close eye on. So, any storms in SA later? I see that question. The answer is it's possible that we could have some storms move through by about 6 a.m. So when I say later, really earlier tomorrow though, around 6 a.m. we're going to have a few storms move through. I think they're going to be weakening a lot as they move through though, so not as much of an issue for us as far as strong to severe weather is concerned. I think that the main risk for our part of Texas, the KENS 5 viewing area, will be into Kirk County, Gillespie County, parts of Edwards, parts of Real, parts of Bandera, maybe in parts of Kendall and Blanco counties. So we'll keep you updated on everything right here. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your night. Make sure you have ways to stay updated throughout the evening. And if it's needed, I will, of course, hop back on here on Facebook to give and YouTube and on the KENS 5 app. We're on all those spots right now to keep everyone updated. And if we end up with a tornado warning or anything, once again, I don't really expect a big tornado threat from this. But if we do end up with one, or I see a storm that's so intense that I think it's warranted, we will cut in on air on Ken's 5 to give an update. So I'm thinking that a bulk of those stronger storms are going to stay off to our north, but we may have some storms that are so intense that I feel like we got to hop on here to give some updates. Either way, whatever the storms are, we'll keep you updated throughout the night. You'll have a wonderful evening, and we'll keep you updated on everything right here at Ken's 5. Have a great one.